All right. I'm coming to you to talk about sort of an adventure in cheap audiophilia that I had recently with something I bought off of eBay. Now, some of you may have heard of this format before. It's called SACD, which stands for Super Audio CD. And basically, it's a very difficult to read and very unique type of digital encoding on a DVD type disc with an alternate CD layer, and I'll get to that in a minute. But the sampling rate on this is very, very high, something like 16 times higher than a CD, and it's 1-bit audio. And the way that it records audio is supposed to be a lot more like analog. And in fact, supposedly, if you feed the DSD signal to the right type of analog equipment, there is a discernible signal that's recognizable for what it is, which I think is kind of interesting too. But anyway, it's supposed to be an extreme way of recording audio that's superior to what we've become accustomed to, which is PCM at a CD level. 44.1 slash 16-bit resolution, the same as a CD, which is considered generally to be transparent. That it's, there's nothing discernible in human hearing that it doesn't cover. But what that ignores is that sometimes that higher frequency information is discernible through, second order resonance at different frequencies too. So it's important to continue to reproduce frequencies that are beyond your hearing, just to ensure that you're hearing everything correctly anyway. And SACD has CD frequency is engineered around human hearing. It's basically the bare minimum that covers the bases. But SACD goes so far beyond that and covers frequencies well outside of our hearing in a much more natural way. So I wanted to hear what this sounded like. And you can buy an SACD player now on eBay for as little as about $15, plus shipping, of course. So when I found that out, I wanted to hear that. It's inexpensive enough at this point to bother trying it just to see what it sounds like. And I have a lot of reasons why this failed. I think that it was over copy protected, and in a lot of ways, that was the time period where the buyers in general were making the decisions about how open things needed to be, and that's why we have MP3 as just a de facto standard. It sprung out of that same time period, and Sony was finding themselves caught in the middle of that. They fought the Betamax case, but then later on, through the purchases of Columbia Pictures and Columbia Records, Sony became a content generator too. And so just from a business standpoint, they wanted to maximize their profits and not assist anyone in stealing any of their product. So they over copy protected SACD. And DSD, the recording method used in SACDs, has since become a de facto standard, just without this copy protected physical media format. So anyway, I wanted to test it, and I bought some recent recordings as well as a classic album and a sampler disc in an effort to see what some different material sounded like. Now, in any of the remastered material, the idea here is that this DSD recording is recorded straight from the analog master and never was PCM digital before it was DSD. And the idea there is to have that be the only digital reproduction part of this recording, and thereby it would be a lot closer to analog and give a more analog spatial feeling, like a good vinyl record, rather than ever having the kind of digital artifacts you would hear in a PCM recording. So anyway, I decided I wanted to hear it. And honestly, some of this material sounds fantastic and some of it does not. Now, most of the sampler disc is just kind of meh. And I think that if you look up this disc, that it was a pack-in or something like that, and it was never a retail sale disc, and that's so it never, it never would have been trading on a shelf, and therefore it's, I don't know, that material is has the potential to be good, but none of it sound all that impressive. Now, what did sound impressive were Ray Charles' last album, Genius Loves Company, which is an album of duets and is generally, I believe, all DSD, from start to finish. And some of that sounds really, really great. But on another level, the Leonard Skinner album that's remastered by Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab sounds really, really excellent. There are a few noticeable defects, and those are acknowledged on the inside of the jacket as being on the source material and unavoidable at this point. I believe them. But everything else about it is great, and it sounds really, really, really good. Playing through this shit Valley amp, and either the Beyerdynamic DT 990 Pros or Beyerdynamic D 1350s, either one just sounds great. Really, really great. And that's for a 1973 album. And that's where some of this, not invented here kind of stuff crops up again. DSD, it has the potential to sound really, really great. I will admit that I can not discernibly always tell the difference between the DSD content and the CD layer. But part of that is because this Pioneer Elite DV45A, just playing a regular CD, that sounds really, really good to me. It sounds better than my other CD players, and I've tried several of them, going just straight from line out to the same shit Valley amp, and it definitely sounds better than my other CD players. And even playing, if you play Apple lossless of the same file through the output cable and into the shit Valley, it sounds fantastic too. So, I mean, Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab is the real deal. Even the CD layer of that disc, it would be worth buying this for the CD layer only. And I love this little gatefold LP cover that's made exactly like an actual LP cover. The paper's a little too thick for a CD, but CDs really should have been packaged this way from the get-go. And the silly jewel cases that were fragile and everything should have never happened. Just kind of a microfiber jacket and then a gatefold LP cover. This is just nice. I like it. But then I'm really impressed with the mix of the disc. It really for a 1973 album sounds amazing. So why are so many amazing 1973 albums available on this format and this one from 2015 isn't? I don't get it. You know, this it's too bad that this format has just kind of fizzled because it does sound good, but it's of their own making, and eventually I think the DSD format is going to have a life online among audiophiles, as a download format that's basically just, SACD without the disc. And that's kind of a shame too, because this is a nice little disc. This is a nice little package. And now that you can get the player as cheaply as you can, this one is not $15. This one was about $45. But since you can try, what was really a premium product for less than $50, it's kind of one of those just, yeah, why not? Let's give that a shot. Just see what that sounds like. And it sounds great. It's worth trying. If there's one album that's really, really precious to you that you really want to hear, and you want to hear it as best as it possibly could be, it might be worth buying a player and that disc just to hear this, because generally these, especially if it's a Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab disc, the SACDs are supposed to be the very best copy of some of these old analog albums possible. Even the mono stuff, Nat King Cole, Frank Sinatra, really, really nice stuff out there. Well, anyway, it was a fun adventure with this SACD format. I'm definitely going to hang on to the player. It's a good CD player. It's probably a good DVD player, but it'll never be used that way. And what's funny, it has stuff like this, video off switch that acknowledges that a lot of people would have been buying this player purely for audio use. And I think that's kind of fun too. This is a nice product. It was not just super expensive when it was new, but it was a premium product. It didn't have the wood bookends on it like my mini disc recorder that's a Pioneer Elite does, but it's a classy looking product, and it still functions great. So I'm sure it's a great DVD player too, but it's a nice way to give a format a try that's basically fizzled but was really, really a capable thing. All right, I hope you all have enjoyed this. Have a look at it, look online, see whether you think it might be worth it. But it does sound great. Have a good one.